Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. We in the cupcake era. Okay, this is the cupcake era of the NBA, where load management is like a thing of it's like just a way of being these days. You have players complaining about travel, about back-to-backs, about the inhumane conditions of playing in the NBA while you earn millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year to play in the NBA. All too often we hear players complaining about one thing or the other, and then at the same time making more money than they've ever made at any point in the history of the league, and now coming up with ingenious ways to do as little as possible. I mean, for goodness sake, just look at some of the All-Star games. These All-Star games, especially the last two, have been the worst in the history of the sport. They have been that bad. It has gotten so bad that you had NBA Hall of Famers like Larry Bird essentially trying to coax these guys to go out there and give effort in an All-Star game. And some of them can come to the conclusion like, well, I'm not getting paid for it really, so why would I do it, right? That's what pretty much the entire league has turned into. Obviously, look at the style of play. It's the cupcake era. Can't touch anybody. If you breathe on dudes, they're going to call a foul. So it's been pretty bad. So as you guys know, one of the most injured players in the NBA is Joel Embiid. He got injured last year. Last year, one could have made an argument that he was on pace to win his second consecutive, a consecutive MVP award. After the MVP he won the year prior. He was off to a spectacular start. And then he got injured, right? But then some news came out a few days ago that I want to read from this article called The Playoffs.News. And it says, Joel Embiid injury update. No plan in playing back-to-back games for the rest of his career. Since the start of his career, Joel Embiid has had a long history of injury preventing him to probably reach his full potential. Ruled out for the rest of the preseason because of a knee injury, Joel Embiid will probably be sidelined for back-to-back games this season. If I had to guess, Embiid said via ESPN's Tim Bontemps, I would probably never play back-to-backs for the rest of my career. In total, Joel Embiid has only played in 433 of the possible 637 games since getting drafted in 2014 by the Philadelphia 76ers. So that's what Joel Embiid had to say. And it was these comments that sent former NBA MVP, top 75 player, NBA champion Kevin Garnett into an absolute rage, to the point where not only did he call out Joel Embiid, he actually called out this entire generation of basketball players. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what Kevin Garnett had to say about the situation here, and then want to come back and continue on with the show. Take a listen to what Kevin Garnett had to say here.
It comes out in Philly that big fella, Joel Embiid, is not going to play back-to-backs ever again. Like it's over. Like, I guess for the duration that he's ever in the league, which is amazing that he can get this off. I mean, this is it, dog. Back-to-backs are part of the of the
so that's going to be about like 15 this year.
Games,
so automatically you're not playing in 15 games.
Man, listen. Okay.
What do you think is a good number of games he played?
82 games, man. This is what the job calls for. Man, I don't want to hear this, man. I don't want to hear none of this. Can sit out a back-to-backs, bro. Hey, listen, we done with that comparison of the era. We're going to respect this era and what it does, and that's it. Don't compare nobody and none of this. You can't. If you ain't play, man, listen.
I think that's going to hurt Philly.
Bro, the league got to get this under control,
good.
bro. This is all over the place. Real ain't nobody saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody holding nobody accountable, bro. So not only are they not going to practice, they going to sit out. I ain't got you in 15.
Hey, look at
back-to-backs.
So you heard what Kevin Garnett had to say, right? Son was pretty pissed off. He was pretty unhappy with the news surrounding Joel Embiid. But he said something interesting in that soundbite if you paid close attention. He said, not only is this alarming, no one is pointing it out. No one. And I think the reason that's the case in response to Kevin Garnett is because if you point this out, you're going to be deemed as a hater, right? You're going to be deemed as a hater because that seems to be kind of the go-to response whenever you try to criticize this era. And to me, I think is representative of the men that we have in the world today. We have some of the most sensitive men to have ever lived, especially in the United States. And men today cannot take criticism. They view criticism as hate. So all they want is essentially for them to just do their things, impede it, and no one should say anything about what they're doing. And if you dare say anything, oh, you're a hater. It's also one of the reasons why respect is totally gone. Because if you can't take criticism, it's very hard for you to respect anybody. Why? Because if you respect someone, you should be able to take constructive criticism from them. And then what gets me is that you have some older guys in their 30s, 40s, some of them 50s, that are co-signing this nonsense because they're trying to live vicariously through the young boys. So like, no, I don't see nothing wrong with it. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's the young fella. That's the young fella. Let live. This is what they say. This is what they say. They like to support the buffoonery. So that's really at the heart of all of this. You have a generation, unfortunately, of sensitive guys that cannot take criticism, and therefore, even if things are going awry, you can't correct it, or you can't even have an opinion on it at the very least. And I guarantee you, a lot of the people that were reacting to Kevin Garnett's comments, some of them will be like, oh, he a hater. He an old head. He an old head. Well, son, damn, son, your pops is old. Your uncle is old. Your grandfather is old. You don't be listening to them, so that's what it comes. So okay, so let me figure this out. You are against listening to anybody older than you. So who are you listening to? Because if you don't want to listen to anybody older than you, that means that you're only listening to yourself and your peers. So basically what you have is a generation of essentially just one big echo chamber, where if you're not saying exactly what I want you to say, you're a hater. And it's a problem. It is a problem. Now back to the NBA. It is what it is. This is the cupcake era. I am not surprised by any of this. None of this surprises me. The fact that he's not going to play, none of this. And I think what KG's saying is like, yo, son, at least try to make it work. Well, bro, it's a different era. It is a different era. You've even heard some players say you can't coach certain players today the way that you would coach players of the past. Well, I thought that these players are supposed to be evolving. So players have evolved all the way to the point where they can't even take constructive criticism because it's going to hurt their feelings. You hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings. They try to make this big thing out of what Pat Riley said to Jimmy Butler. That's the hardest thing, the harshest thing you ever heard an older guy say to a younger guy. Really? Is this the world we live in? Like that's what, man, if you say that, I might be out of there because you done hurt my feelings. All of these feelings. Yo, what is going on? But yo, it is what it is. This is the cupcake era. And for those of you who think this is the best, the greatest era of the NBA, well, y'all can have it. Y'all can have it. This is the cupcake era. And no, Kevin Garnett, nobody's not going to call it out. You may call it out. Maybe a few other NBA players will call it out, but the rest of them just going to get along with it because they're trying to ingratiate themselves with the younger fan base. And if that means sitting up there and twerking it up every single day on the internet, then that's what they'll do. Twerk it up, twerk it up, twerk it up. Even though my favorite player of all time is one Kobe Bryant, I believe, like many others do, that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. And trust me, I didn't just accept that because people were saying that. As a Kobe fan, I was like, well, Kobe is nice. Kobe is mad nice. So I got to go figure out why they saying that this dude is better than Kobe Bryant. Because I was watching Kobe play and I'm looking at him play. I'm like, yo, he better than all these dudes right now. And you trying to tell me somebody's better than him? I refuse to believe. I think I told this story before early on the channel, but I'm going to tell it again. So I forgot what year it was. Well, it might have been 2011 or 12 or something like that. So I see this video on YouTube of this dude trying to say why Kobe Bryant is a better scorer than, than Michael Jordan. So I send it to my cousin, who's older than me by like 10, 11 years or something. So I send him this video because, you know, he thinks Jordan is a go. So I send him this video like, yeah, look at this. Look at this. I got you now. Answer this one. Answer this. So I sent him this video on Facebook. You know what the dude, you know what he did? He read the, like he opened the message and didn't respond anything. Like he didn't even respond to it. So I see him later on. I'm talking like, yo, so I'm like trying to have a conversation. Like, man, I think Kobe's better. He's like, but Jordan is better. That's what he told. He's like, Jordan is better. And I'm like, huh. Later on, I decided to go do some research for myself. And what I discovered was that MJ is better than Kobe Bryant in not every single area, but overall, he's better. He's more athletic. I would make an argument he's stronger. Obviously, he had bigger hands, so that allowed him, to palm the ball and do other things. I think he was a slightly better defender. He was certainly more accurate. And I just think, yeah, Kobe was he could shoot better from distance. Obviously, Kobe was a better ball handler. They were both creative. I mean, Kobe was very, very creative. But overall, I think Jordan was a better player, just looking at them with the eyeball test. And then when you actually go through their resumes, like, okay, this dude is on another level, totally different level. So what happened? I'm going through the internet this afternoon, and I come across a clip from John Salley, where he had a sit down on Byron Scott's podcast. And they're talking about Kobe, the NBA, how he got into acting, and all of that. And then it got to the point where he was talking about Michael Jordan. And describing the moment when he realized that Michael Jordan was the greatest player ever. And if you know anything about John Salley, you will know that his story was absolutely hilarious. So what we want to do now is we're going to play exactly what John Salley had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to him here.
MJ, we're in a practice, and Phil said, tell him to go home, and he didn't know why, and he waited. And he was like, all right, we're playing for minutes, scrimmage for minutes. And MJ came in, nah, you ain't putting me out. And he had on regular tennis shoes. They looked like Vans, but they were Nike. And he had his sweats cut and rolled at the bottom. You know, he thought he was fly. He wasn't. But, you know, you don't say nothing to the Messiah. And he was like, yeah, put all the Pistons on that team, Wood Harp, and put Randy Brown over there. And Harp was pissed because Black Randy Brown was, and we're playing. And all of a sudden, I'm running back, and MJ gets a steal. And I go, and he's about to do the right-hand jump. I said, oh, I know exactly what dunk you're going to try. I'm getting this. I don't care. And I drop step and turn around about to jump. And as I'm about to jump, his midsection is moving past my face. And you know, you try to bring yourself down. He was like, block this, bitch. Boom. And I'm like, I take the ball out, boom. I'm staying in the hotel behind the facility. So I would jump the fence. And I go home, I call my mother. She's like, how is it? I said, Ma, I just saw the greatest player of all time. She said, it took you that long to admit it. I go, yeah, it took me this long to admit it. But I just saw him playing tennis shoes, no tape, no knee brace, no wristband, sweatpants on, T-shirt, and a practice jersey, and thought he was in the finals against us. Like, he literally thought he was reliving the 80s. And I was like, yeah, this dude is on next level. He is. And we would go out to play against somebody, and, you know, MJ coming, everybody's happy to see it, but even in the back when you're about to put your hands together, he was hella intense.
Yeah.
He was the last to come out. So we would all run out, and then MJ would be the last. That would scare. If you looking down there, you go, oh my God, MJ. Oh, here come the devil now.
Yeah, you hope he wasn't showing up, right?
Yes, he was, and my locker was here at the United Center, and he was right here. And I would watch him put his sock up, and then look at this sock. And then, like, had to be the same height. And then he would, everything had to, like he was a gladiator. And I was like, I don't even think people realize how psycho this dude is. All you got to do, pull his shirt out a little bit, it's going to piss him off. It needs to be tucked perfectly. Just mess up his outfit. That's the only way to stop him, to make him think about anything else but destroying you. And his mentality was destroy you.
Yeah.
Demean you. Finish you. Shouldn't even be on court with me. It is the best thought in the world.
So you heard what he said. Look, I've said this before. Of all the basketball players that I've ever seen, I said that I've never seen a player that moves quite like Jordan does. Every once in a while, I'll go back and watch some game footage of Jordan, and I'll be watching a game, like a full game, and he would just go up and do a move, and I'm like, okay, that was freaky. Like I've never seen that. Jordan look like he levitates off the floor. Like literally. The dude, it looks like he flies. And then when you look at some of his circus shots, you're like, but nobody's doing this. Nobody. Look, people say that Kyrie Irving is the greatest finisher, especially under the rim in the history of basketball. I would really, really challenge that notion. Kyrie is very elusive around the rim, kind of similar to Kobe, but Jordan has just as spectacular finishes under the rim as Kyrie Irving. Like Kyrie Irving has some incredible shots under the rim. You're like, how did he make that? There was even a footage of him scrimmaging with the Dallas Mavericks. He made the shot. I'm like, good Lord, like that looked easy for him. But there are videos I've seen of Jordan finishing under the rim. I'm like, this dude is unreal. And he's ambidextrous. He can finish with either hand. Like you look at the shots he would hit, and I'm like, yo, what is this? And usually Kyrie finishes while eluding contact. Jordan is doing that with contact. Like a dude would bump him and he would just be like, flick it up like that. I'm like, and it would just go in. I'm like, yo, what did I just see? So in terms of how Jordan moved on the basketball court, I've never seen anyone like, never. That includes LeBron James, the Kobe Bryant, whomever. Vince Carter, although Vince Carter is the greatest dunker ever, but I've never seen anyone move like him. So you have that. And then you begin to look at his basketball games himself, his precision. Jordan did not waste any movement. Literally. When we talk about efficiency, it's not just efficient in terms of your percentages, it's efficient in terms of how you execute your moves. Jordan, he mastered the fundamentals to the point where Jordan would just get the ball, jab step, go to the right, stop, pull up on a dime, hit the shot, and that's it. There's no other movement, all dribbling, running low. He doesn't need to do any of that. I mean, the precision at which he played with. And then when you look at his accomplishment, it's a joke. It is a joke. The fact is, Jordan is the best two-way player to ever play basketball. And if you've listened to any NBA player worth his salt, they will tell you that the hardest thing to be in the NBA is a two-way player. That is the hardest thing to do, is play on both sides of the ball. The guy has 10 scoring titles, 9 first defensive teams, and a defensive player of the year. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Just the other day, Gilbert Arenas did a segment on their show where they're talking about who scored the most points in an NBA season. Is it James Harden? No. One person picked Kobe. I think another person picked, was it Shaq? Oh, no, Allen Iverson. Kenny Martin, I think he picked AI. Brandon Jennings picked Kobe. I think Gilbert Arenas picked James Harden. And I told him, I said, Gil, the correct answer is Michael Jordan. And Gilbert said he was looking at points per minute. How many points James Harden was playing, minutes he was playing versus the points he was scoring. I said, Gil, for as impressive as James Harden was, while he was attempting 12 threes a game, which he was, making about 4 of them, Jordan is the only player on that list that has scored 3,000 points in one season. I repeat it once more. Not LeBron James, who's the leading scorer of all time. Not Kobe Bryant, who's right up there with Jordan in terms of the ability to score the basketball. None of these guys ever scored 3,000 points in a season. Ever. None of them. I'm going to go with that guy. I'm going to go with the guy that scored 37 a game, attempting less than 1 3-point shot a game. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead with him. And I said, Jordan, he's like, well, you can't change playing styles. I'm like, what era are we playing in? If you put Jordan in this era, he's averaging over 40 points a game. If you put him in an era where they didn't shoot threes, he's averaging 37. I'm going with Jordan. Who are you going with? As you guys know, LeBron James will be turning 40 years old this season. And it's a very, very impressive thing to do, especially considering how well he's playing at his age. It's truly remarkable. But there have been times where I've sat back and asked myself, why is LeBron still here? Like, why are you still playing? If you look at all of your contemporaries, all your mates, like Carmelo Anthony done retired, Dwayne Wade done retired. Hell, all of the Chris Paul is still playing, but he about to retire. Like, all the people from your generation have pretty much said, yo, enough is enough. Like, I'm tired. But LeBron is still going. And I just sat back and said to myself, why are you still here? Like, not in the sense that LeBron doesn't make the NBA seasons interesting with his stories and his antics. No, not from that standpoint, but from the standpoint of, like, yo, why are you still here? Like, you're a billionaire. You've made all the money in the world. You've won championships. You've done all these awards. Like, what's the point of it all, right? Well, it turns out I'm not the only one that has this thought. So an audio was sent to us today of Mark Cuban, the vocal former governor of the Dallas Mavericks. They were asking him about LeBron James and all of that. And it got to a point where they were like, do you think LeBron James should retire? All right, do you think he should retire? And Mark Cuban is saying, like, in a joking way, he goes, yeah, I think he should retire. It's like, yo, let Bronny get some shot. Like, just go ahead and retire already. So what we want to do now, I want to play what Mark Cuban had to say. It's only about 40 to 50 seconds or so clip. We want to play that for you guys now, and then we're going to come back and react to Mark Cuban here. Take a listen to what he had to say about LeBron James retiring.
Is it a little too late? Is it kind of ruining his son's, well, not ruining, but will it hurt his son long term?
No, I think it's great. I mean, Ronnie's still a teenager, and teenagers are still teenagers no matter who their dad is. Trust me, I know. And so I think it's great, just the fact that they get to spend time together and be together and see the ups and downs, and LeBron gets to teach Bronny the ropes. I think it's amazing. I would love to be in that position.
Now, is it time for LeBron to finally hang it up after this?
Yes, LeBron, it's time for you to quit. I'm tired of you.
Are you being serious or playing?
No, I'm being serious.
No way! Oh
Only
my
because
God.
he's still so good. He's on the Lakers. They're our rival, so it's time to retire LeBron.
And get his son to shine, no?
Yes, let Bronny step in.
So you heard what Mark Cuban had to say. Obviously, he was laughing and joking, but I'm sure the thought has occurred to him as well. Think about it. All of these guys have retired. Dirk, Nowitzki, all of those guys, but especially the LeBron's draft class, the main players in his draft class, which were Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. And I think Carmelo Anthony, it was a clip I saw not too long ago, where he was making a joke about, like, yo, son, like, enough is enough. Like, enough is enough. It's okay. Which then begs the question, well, why do I think LeBron is still playing basketball? Well, I think LeBron is playing for a few reasons. Obviously, I think he enjoys playing basketball to a certain extent. We also know that he said that he wanted to play with his son. That's probably kept him in the game a little bit longer as well. But I also just believe that LeBron loves the attention. I think LeBron enjoys the attention and he gets a high off of it. Whereas it's like he can't get enough of just being at the center of attention every single year. Right? I just think that is something that he truly enjoys. Even though he complains about this, complains about that, I think LeBron genuinely basks in the media attention that he gets. I think a part of him doesn't want to let go of the spotlight, right? I think a part of him is that, and a part of it is that, and I think that there's a bit of a reluctance to kind of, okay, well, let's let somebody else rock out for a little bit. It's one of the reasons why I've noticed, if you look at LeBron's, okay, there's been this conversation of, Anthony Davis refused to take the reins from LeBron. He refused to take the reins from LeBron. Well, LeBron shoots just as much as AD, right? If LeBron was really serious about giving Anthony Davis the offense and really let him lead the team, then he would take less shots than him, Go look at the game that they played in the playoffs against the Denver Nuggets. I forgot what game was that, maybe game 2 or something, where AD had like damn near 30 points in the first half. And they were like, well, how could they get away from the AD? How could they get away from KD? Darvin Ham wasn't doing anything. Well, LeBron was right there. He was right there. Why didn't he make sure AD got the ball? He kept on shooting too because he wanted the moment too. I also think that a part of LeBron is still chasing Michael Jordan's legacy, or rather chasing Jordan to ultimately pass Jordan. And it says a lot, really, about just how much MJ was able to accomplish with the Chicago Bulls in really 12 effective years. Although Jordan played 15 years in the NBA, 2 with the Washington Wizards, 13 with the Chicago Bulls, really he played 12 full, like, solid seasons with them. And it says a lot that a person has been playing for 25,000 years in LeBron is still trying to catch a guy who basically cemented his legacy in 12 years. Literally. I mean, Jordan essentially cemented his legacy as the greatest player ever in 12 seasons. And LeBron has been at it for, well, let's put it this way. LeBron has had over 3 times the amount of time to eclipse Jordan. And it hasn't happened yet. So what does that tell you about the impression that Michael Jordan was able to make on NBA fans and even his contemporaries and NBA players? That after 12 seasons of basketball, we all came to the conclusion that this is the greatest basketball player ever. There's no other basketball player we've been able to say that about. None. Okay. If you look at LeBron, I think it was in year 8, 9 when he was in Miami. If we view it from this standpoint, at the 12-year mark in LeBron's career, no one was saying he's better than Michael Jordan. Same thing with Kobe Bryant. They were saying that they were great players, but not better than MJ. So for LeBron to still be trying to catch Michael Jordan, I think is almost like a fool's errand, because there's no way really for him to catch him. What now I believe he's trying to catch him with is longevity statistics. But we all know the real measure of these guys is, how were you able to dominate a sport in your prime? How were you able to do it? And it was clear that Jordan's peak was higher than everybody else's peak. I mean, it's clear. It's clear, right? It is absolutely clear. So I think a part of it is that, but I also think that LeBron just loves the attention. And sometimes I do be sitting back asking myself, like, yo, why don't you just, like, enough is enough. Go relax. But hey, LeBron has his reason. So